Okay, everyone, welcome to the webinar. This webinar today is arranged by Deloitte and NayaDaya Analytics. I am Maria Kausto-Turner from NayaDaya Analytics, and in today's webinar we have Tapio Koivumäki, who is a partner at Deloitte, leading M&A advisory services, and then we have Timo Järvinen, our co-founder at NayaDaya Analytics. Tapio, do you want to briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Maria. So, name is Tapio Koivumäki, partner, 16 years of experience in, let's say operational M&A, so mainly integrations and carve-outs. And yeah, we have been collaborating with NayaDaya over the few years to come to this point of kind of introducing the latest features on this one. But yeah, happy to be here.
Great. And then Timo.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. Tapio, and it's also, I founded the NayaDaya Analytics actually more than 7 years ago already, and during these years we have kind of dived into the science of emotions and behavior and to solve people-related business critical problems there. Now, especially in the M&A and transformations and with the help of science and AI and so on. Our first focus actually was on empathy, and I think that's still really relevant there. And what we are discussing today, it's a kind of combination of totally new way of identifying and avoiding risks, but it's also about taking care of people and building social sustainability and so on. But anyway, with Deloitte, we have been collaborating with many years and already, and it's great to be here today with Tapio. So thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tapio and Timo. This leads us directly to our today's agenda. Today we are launching a completely new solution. It's called People Risk Analytics, and it combines science, artificial intelligence, and empathy, like what Timo just said, in a very inspiring way, I would say. So the goal is to build successful integrations and transformations. But first, before we go to the actual revealing of the solution, briefly about the agenda. So the webinar will last about 45 minutes. And after that, we can go through the questions if you have any. So questions can be submitted in the questions section during the webinar, and then we will, hopefully we will have time, I'm sure we will have time to look at least few of them. So, okay, let's go, gentlemen.
Okay,
the floor is yours.
Thanks. So first, I think I will let Tapio to talk a little bit about the trends of M&A nowadays and so on. So please, Tapio.
Yeah, thanks, Timo. So I keep it short, but kind of how M&A looks like. What are the kind of what happened sort of last year, and how the kind of outlook is for the coming year. Maybe that's of greatest interest. So M&A has been, let's say, in the toolkit for growth for a long time, and there was a long period that M&A, since the financial crisis, every year we kind of broke the new records. So 2021 was actually the all-time record year in terms of M&A. So, and it doesn't actually even matter if you look at it globally or the Nordics or Finland. So it's pretty much the same trends. But since 21, there has been, let's say, more uncertainty in the market, and 23 was a bit quiet year. So I just checked the data, so it looked pretty much the same as 2013. So we dropped almost half from the peak of 21. But positive is that in the fourth quarter there was a pickup in the M&A volumes, and we just recently, I believe it's like a month ago, we conducted this survey, what we call M&A barometer. So especially asking that how M&A leaders see the M&A activity in the coming 6 months or so. And here we got like positive signal, so in line with the pickup in the fourth quarter. So 87% were kind of believing that the M&A activity levels will remain the same or increase in the upcoming 6 months, and one, let's say 30%, so 1 out of 3 roughly, said that they are planning M&A in the coming 6 months. So we are kind of cautiously optimistic. So there are also kind of forces that are negatively impacting the M&A market, like the availability and cost of financing, for sure. But we believe that the market is kind of recovering, and it was not that bad, to be honest, in the kind of long term view. But obviously it's a big drop from the 21 what we experienced the last year. And how this is kind of topical, the NayaDaya solution. So I believe that it's regardless of the what type of merger or acquisition we are talking, this is a sort of relevant aspect of every integration. So I hope that people will enjoy this presentation. But maybe that's in a short manner. So M&A definitely is there in the toolkit, and kind of long term, let's say mega trends all support kind of increasing M&A activity. Of course, now we have had geopolitical and inflation related topics that have hindered the market a bit, but I'm optimistic.
Thanks, that's great to hear. Yeah, and maybe we then go forward here. So starting from the people risks themselves, I think it's quite good to remember that those risks we are talking about here, they are something that, like you should blame on the employees, I would say. I mean, the problem is not that people somehow like behave not as they should. I mean they behave exactly how they should. I mean, exactly, actually the evolution and emotions are taking care of that kind of thing. So I mean, if there is a threat, people tend to run away, and if something makes life difficult, they tend to resist it. So I would say that the identifying these kind of people risks here, it's about like looking at the mirror like more. So the root causes of these risks, the employee turnover and quiet quitting and productivity even collapse there. I mean, they are there in the company and the integration itself, more like that. So so when we are executing integrations or actually any transformation there, so why is this mirror so important? And it's because the people related risks in these changes, they are so high, and you know, mergers, acquisitions, as well as transformations, they are huge investments with high goals, of course, and according to many studies, it seems that they tend to fail too often, as we know, and especially they tend to fail because of the people and culture related reasons, but still those risks, they are usually not known as well as they should. So Tapio, what would you say? I mean, you will be working in many integrations. So what would you say about this topic in general?
Well, this is sort of kind of even based on the various studies by Deloitte and also other firms. So the most quoted kind of reason for a failing integration, it's the people and culture topics on top of the list. Of course, it's a kind of pretty broad, let's say, set of different, let's say, aspects that can be kind of categorized to as culture, for example. So there is kind of, let's say, friction, often a friction when two companies come together, and it requires some time to kind of start the journey together. And but I think this is something that it's kind of crucial in every integration, that it's a kind of no matter what's the business, people are always at the heart of it and kind of make the company tick. So I think this is kind of always important. Of course, sometimes there are kind of you have different like kind of synergies and value drivers in different types of deals, and sometimes those can also kind of cause some negative reactions amongst the employees. But I would say that more often it's a question of maybe not kind of paying enough attention for people related topics and repeating the key messages. What are we doing? Why we are doing it? Kind of communications plays a big role, but also kind of when you launch new organizations, for instance, to take that time to kind of come together as a kind of new team. So it takes time and effort always. So maybe those are kind of my on top of my head some kind of key reflections. So often there is nothing in the integration plan in itself that would kind of cause a failure, but it's more like that there should be more attention and time for these topics to kind of to meet people on different levels of the organization and kind of have clear messages and let's say come together, create that common understanding, and then move forward with the execution. I would say that's at the core of every integration.
Yeah, thanks. Very good points. Good points there. And from now, just a couple of words about like this kind of common, I would say, like misunderstanding related to employee experiences and behavior. This is especially important in the context of any change, actually. And this science-based image here, it actually tells us something that, like that emotions has a very different impact on behavior. So in this matrix, from negative to positive and from disengagement to engagement, actually, and here the engagement actually means like concrete actions in the context of the integration, for example. And then if you look at this kind of traditional like service scale of satisfaction or even NPS, for example, so as you see, this is only about the negativity or the positivity of experiences in the integration, for example, from left to right in this image. And then this curve over there, it actually tells us something that many people don't even think about, which is that these traditional scales of satisfaction, for example, from left to right here, they do not correlate with the engagement at all. So they are two totally like different dimensions in behavior. And the contentment or satisfaction are usually more like kind of like comfort zone, not inspiring people to do even anything. So if you need to understand engagement and disengagement and their root causes, then the traditional service can be even useless. But with emotions and science, it's possible to understand engagement, the disengagement, and you just need to kind of scientific tools there, like sophisticated processes, but easy to people. So this is something we have now here, but quite different from the traditional thinking, I would say.
Yeah, I have to say here that I think this is really an eye-opener. At least it was for me, because in my previous HR work for years and years, I have been conducting the traditional surveys and pulse surveys for years. And when seeing it like this, it is obvious that the satisfaction or contentment, or how we want to call them, is about comfort zone only. It's about it's not really about the engagement or loyalty or commitment. So no wonder sometimes it felt like when you have the traditional survey results, it was really hard to pinpoint what to really do, or couldn't get too much out of them. So really, this is it for me as an HR person.
Yeah, exactly like that. And so in the context of some kind of change, for example, the contentment or satisfaction is not something that make things going on. Okay. Now, today we are happy to launch a kind of new innovation here, even game-changing, I would say, a method and the technology we call people risk analytics here. So let's take a look at this process. So, which is actually very simple to customer, like input means data. We are collecting from employees. I will show you more about that. Then the data is processed with our analytics, science-based algorithms there, and AI also. And the output is about 3 levels, like people risk levels, and then also their root causes, and then action points and even recommendations there. And this is to avoid the financially significant failings there, and also let's not forget the distress of people there. And this kind of standard process can be executed and repeated always at the same way, for example, 3 times during the integration. So, and this process is scaling from even 10 people to thousands or even tens of thousands of people. So really scalable model here. But now we can go through these steps here, and let's start from the first phase. This is the cloud application, which is easy to share with the people there, and so we do not need a traditional service with many burdening questions and so on. So you need only to ask like 3 questions from employees, for example, during the integration. And these questions, they are about emotions and their intensities and the reasons behind them. So the first question is there, it's like, how do you feel about the integration? And you can select 1 or 2 emotions there from 20 emotions or no emotions. Just to be said here that the method it's based on the scientific study method and research in the University of Geneva in Switzerland. It's a kind of multilingual and multicultural way to express and understand emotions. We have actually already like 10 languages available there, and it's an excellent way to cover the whole human emotion space, as they say. And okay, then the intensities, they are like simple selections, and then the third question, those reasons, they are short, like free-form responses. Why do you feel, for example, interest or fear or whatever in the context of the integration? And so this whole survey, it's short, intuitive, taking only a couple of minutes and not burdening the people. And one thing is that we do not like identify people there, so no personal data there. And I want to emphasize one thing more here, which is that the questions, they are always the same. So you do not need a kind of project or planning every time. We can add some kind of background variables there if we like, but anyway, this is really simple. So Tapio, what would you say about this? I guess you've been seeing many kind of policies or whatever in the integration cases.
Yes.
So how is this different from your point of view?
Yeah, I would say that the traditional is useful, but it's completely kind of different here. So there we or one typically asks that from scale 1 to 5 or so, how happy or satisfied are you with the various topics, and there you get the responses. But I think here the first difference is that we actually ask that how do you feel about the integration. So it's a kind of different question, and it gives like more, let's say, freedom for expression for the respondent. And the beauty of the thing is that the science proves that there's more correlation with the engagement related to these emotions, and it's more like predictive of the future behavior. So then it's definitely more valuable input. And I think when we sort of give recommendations on building surveys, we also try to kind of emphasize that what we really appreciate is also a high response rate. And what kills high response rates is like too many questions. So people, maybe in the first time you get kind of good response rate, but then it starts to decline. So I think it needs to be something simple. Here we ask only basically one or three questions, and when we have kind of contributed along the way to how to develop this, that I think this is like really valuable piece of the puzzle is this third element, that we also kind of, we don't ask like long responses, but just the kind of underlying reason behind the motion, because there we get the grasp of the root causes, and then Timo will, I'm sure you will talk about those more and visualize that, but there we can kind of connect the emotion with the root cause, and then we will get like tangible outputs, because we know if it's like something related to where you work or benefits or whatever is the kind of topic that you feel like good or bad about. So that's like really critical element to kind of then kind of design the actions, that how can we what's the issue here that needs to be solved. So maybe that's so maybe just to kind of emphasize that the simplicity and not asking too many questions, asking a different type of question. It's actually a very personal question, that how do you feel, but I think it's something new and very it's a good approach.
Yeah, thanks. And it's I would say that these emotions, they are always like a kind of fresh way to kind of understand what is going on right now in people's minds. So really kind of that. But now we can go to the next step, to the analytics itself, and then the outcome will be later. So about the analytics, which is now at the moment, it's a patent pending method and technology, and you know, behind these simple process input outputs, there are sophisticated set of analytics and science-based algorithms, AI, and so on. So the first level of is the kind of core analytics there, and with the emotion and behavior intelligence, benefiting especially from the science and artificial intelligence also. And then the second level there, it's about setting goals. Like in this case, it means like mitigating employee turnover and productivity collapse, and of course also it's about creating positive engagement and retention and promoting the change in general, of course. Then the third level, that's a new one. It's a new multi-dimensional even framework for identifying the kind of right kind of actions there, and that's based on the case-by-case results in different phases of the integration, and it's also like based on science, but it's also there is a kind of process intelligence and integration best practices included there. So this is a kind of innovation itself, and we've been building that together with Deloitte. So many thanks to Tapio and Tapio's team, like Malin and people there, because this is something really big we have been creating during the last year together. And you can say something about that soon, Tapio, but maybe first these levels here. The fourth level, which is the generative AI there. So that means that with AI, we analyze the total package of the analytics and the goals and that action intelligence also, and also external information can be used there from integrations and transformations. So this is really something new here, and this is why this is how we are going to the fifth level, which is to finding out the real action points and recommendations to achieve those goals and to build the successful integrations, of course. So, and then from all this we get the three outputs. I will show them soon to you, but before that, so Tapio, how would you like comment this model in general, and maybe also the work we've been doing together with you?
Yeah, thanks, Timo. So I think what's kind of valuable here is that, like Timo said, so we have been kind of working on this action intelligence, so kind of based on the kind of real live cases, that what kind of root causes there has been, so that those kind of sound very familiar to me with the experience that I have had. So so we have kind of come up with some, let's say that if it's kind of a root cause associated with the positive or negative kind of feeling, that what have been kind of typical ways to kind of go about it. So what kind of actions you can, kind of very concrete actions that you can plan. And there is no like I think it's like a selection of alternative actions. So of course every case, the root causes, the situations, they're always like different, but there are like commonalities between the, let's say, integrations. If you do 100, there are like repeating themes and let's say actions that are kind of make a lot of sense. So kind of creating these, let's say, alternative actions associated with the kind of let's say likely outcomes from the surveys based on the real surveys. So it creates speed. So I think that's the kind of thing, that if you have like a easy to answer survey, so then you get high response rate, and then the further you automate this process, so it kind of eases the kind of analysis phase, and it's kind of quick, and then it even kind of gives alternative recommendations. And the generative AI, that's the kind of latest feature, but to my understanding, it sort of kind of enriches the output further. But I definitely see from the kind of looking this at from the, let's say, integration advisor lens, that it's sort of, it's a very kind of efficient process to kind of facilitate a meaningful discussion and decide on the kind of correct course of action. I don't believe that AI can decide what's the best way to go about it, but it can definitely kind of give you set of kind of readily thought recommendations, and then the humans decide what to do. But it's that speed and efficiency that I really kind of appreciate here. So that's maybe my key takeaways.
Yeah, thanks. Exactly like that. So good to mention that the AI does not make the decisions there, but it's really helpful and making this more effective, as you said, enriching this information and helping us a lot, I would say. So all these things together make this sophisticated process here kind of below the surface. And now we can go to the outputs, the simple outputs coming from this. And the first one there, it's about the people risk levels during an integration. So a couple of things, or two things there. The first kind of donut there, it's about employee experiences, like positive emotions. They are like protect against those risks. Then the negative ones, they increase the risks in general, and the positive and negative at the same time have the both effects. Then the lack of emotions there, it's about insignificance or indifference. So it actually also increases risks because it has a kind of tendency to alienate people and to create disengagement. So that's why it's not a kind of desirable thing there. Then on the right side there, we have a risk level indicator, and that's scientific number there between 0 and 100. So that actually predicts like negative and disengaged and even non-pro-social behavior. So meaning the bigger the risk, bigger the number is there, the bigger is the risk for the integration to fail. And so you can use these indicators as to compare risks, for example, in different phases of the integration, between different integrations, different business units or entities, or through the background variables also. So I would say that with these kind of indicators, you will see even in seconds if there's some kind of crisis going on in the integration. So really useful kind of thing to quickly see the situation, I would say. But then we can go a bit deeper there. So for the root causes and or root cause analytics here, and so this is a kind of snapshot about concrete things behind those risks, and the sizes of those bubbles, they are about the relevance or the weight of those things to people, and then their location there, it's about the behavior. And so as you see also the engagement dimension is there, which is not understood by the traditional surveys as said before here. So these quadrants there, they actually give us quite good information, because for example up there, these are the things that are behind like retention and motivation and commitment and the readiness for change and all those things, promoting the integration in general. Then on the write down these things, they are making people more like passive and are the causes for the comfort zone as said before. Then on the left down there, these things cause the employee turnover and productivity loss and the failing integration. They are those things. And then up there are things behind the resistance and even sometimes even aggressive behavior. Of course, that's not good for the change either there. So the goal, of course, is to kind of move those bubbles to up right corner, like there. So I would say that this is the reality of people and their behavior in the integration. And now with emotions and science, we can like automatically eliminate all the irrelevant things there. So what we are doing, we are visualizing only those things that have an impact on behavior. So I would say that's a kind of magic of emotions and science here. So and of course this snapshot also can be compared in different phases of the change. So do you want to comment this somehow, Maria, or Tab?
Yeah, I have to comment just a quick note here that just to point out that these bubbles, of course, are examples, and case by case they differ. So every time you ask, you get a different set of bubbles and different set of root causes and where they're located. Just to underline that.
Yeah, that's good point.
Yeah, because like for example the career, it could be also kind of negatively kind of identified as a negative root cause, but here in this example it's on the positive side. But yeah.
Okay. So now moving to the third level of the outputs here. So now starting from the kind of action points and from the risk factors, as we say here. So where you should like target your actions. So, and with the scientific algorithm there, we actually like identify and even prioritize those things there. And it's in this example, for example, there are the risk factors are like workload, employment, leadership, tools. So the blue color actually there means like we need to tackle there the employee productivity loss, and the red color is more like tackling the resistance there. And arrows there, they tell you if the risks are going down or increasing or decreasing, and the circle is about the new risk there. So I would say that is so this is the way to kind of see the risk factors and action points really concretely. And then the same thing for these protectors, that are the things like or action points that secure this, like the integration against those people risks. So examples here like career, corporate culture, salary and benefits, and the leadership. So as you see, the leadership here, it's both a risk and the protector, both of them, because it's kind of polarizing people. So green color there, it's about active retention, productivity, participation, that kind of things. And the yellow, it's about the retention but passivity. So these yellow boxes would be transformed more like into green ones. That would be the goal, of course. So also here you will see like what of them are increasing or decreasing and so on. So really simple to understand lists about risks and protecting things. But then to the action points themselves. So based on these risk factors and protectors, we create a summary of action recommendations. So this is first a summary to mitigate risks and strengthen the protectors, of course, there. So for creating this, we use the analytics, we use the scientific algorithms there, and also the artificial intelligence there, all these things. So a simple list, but quite sophisticated actions behind that. And then for each kind of root cause, or I mean here risk factor, we give recommendations for actions. This example is about the workload here, and I think it should be mentioned here that all these kind of like action cards, so they are based on the case-by-case result and the situation there. So is like even on the different phase of the integration. So behind this is the kind of multi-dimensional analytics. So okay, there on the left you will see the most common negative emotions in connection with the workload, and below some examples of the responses. So we are able to also like combine qualitative and quantitative information here. And the actions recommendations, of course, they are here to minimize the people risks, in this case in the context of the workload. And then another same kind of example here of the green protector here, same kind of action recommendations, which is this carrier here is creating like interest and contentment and joy, and same kind of information here. So I would say that all in all, by asking only those three questions here, you will get the risk levels, the root causes, the list of those factors and protectors, and also the action recommendations. And it's quite nice that you do not need to know anything about like emotions or science. All these things are below the surface. So this is what you get, these simple kind of things. And so as you now see, probably this is not an employee survey. This is much more. I would even call this kind of like insurance for to manage these kind of risks. But then, okay, let's have one practical example here. This Rantalainen Group, that's actually one of Finland's biggest financial service companies. They have a strong growth going on in the Nordic countries right now with Norwegian private equity equity company, actually called Norvestor. And so they've been using this solution for almost 2 years now. And this is how you can like scale the same solution inside one company, like executing exactly the same process and service in every integration or unit transformation. It could be used, of course, also to find out the risks and the actions there, and to build successful integration and business, as Kimmo Martikainen says here. And actually, I think Kimmo will gladly tell you more about this if you like in person. But maybe here, a couple of words, Tapio. What would you like to say about using this solution in integration in general? Maybe this is a good point before going to the end.
Yeah, like the previous slides you showed, like I think it's like super kind of valuable, coming back to that kind of speed and efficiency point, that you saw that there's like root cause and let's say alternative recommendations for action. So of course you can come up with something also outside of those. It always lists like 3 alternative actions, but I think that really kind of creates speed. Like it can be a 4th action, of course, but when you get the kind of kind of analyzed potential courses of action, I think it should help to do the kind of the most important thing, which is to act on it. So you don't do surveys for survey purposes, but you do those to kind of to do corrective measures and actions. So I think that's like the value in using this tool, and it's of course integrations are like big projects. So there are like strategic topics and all the functional planning and synergy planning and tracking and various topics. So it's a kind of broad field, but definitely for the change management piece, this is like a tool, something completely new, I would say.
Yeah, thanks. Couldn't say it that better. Maybe lastly here, like getting back to where we started, actually, like the people, which does not mean that people are to blame, or if the integration is kind of failing. I would say that so the risk management, it's about looking at the integration itself through the kind of, you know, like eyes of the people. In practice, that means that like empathy, stepping into the shoes of people, like paying attention to people, being socially sustainable. And another thing here is the use of AI. I mean, it's need to be used carefully by following like precise like protocols there to kind of ensure all the information security, of course. But also, I would say that AI needs to be used like ethically, and so what we promise to is to like use it like not only to save financial losses, but also in every request for actions from the AI, like to be kind to people and the planet. So that's the way we want to use it. And so Tapio, Maria, maybe we have not many minutes anymore, but would you like to say something like shortly about this kind of other side of the coin, if you like?
Tapio first.
No, Maria, you go first.
Okay. Well, from my part, I would like to conclude. I want to say that what is good for people is good for business, I would say, and that has been proven many times. So these things go hand in hand, and during these turbulent times, I would say what we already discussed in the beginning, it is important to take an ethical and sustainable road going forward. So this would be a way to do it in integrations and transformations also. This, we take people, like Tapio mentioned before, that we ask about the feelings, the emotions. That is something new and very, in my book, very ethical and sustainable in that sense.
Yeah, I would say kind of in a big picture that, well, M&A doesn't always enjoy the kind of, let's say, positive reputation, but it deserves actually more positive reputation, since if we look at the kind of main drivers of M&A, it's mainly like growth driven, and growth creates kind of opportunities for people as well. Of course, there are some painful decisions coming with integrations, but typically the big picture is that you try to kind of create something new and build on build the business and create kind of success for the firm and the employees. So I think often there is like a lot of things to plan, and it's not entirely clear from day one that what's the ultimate goal, what will happen, and then you might suffer kind of some, let's say, unintended losses in terms of employees, that there's kind of uncertainty or fears without real reasons. So it's only the kind of change and the unknowns that are kind of causing negative things to happen. And I think if we can kind of minimize that, maybe we are not able to fully eliminate that impact, but the more we can kind of minimize that, I think the better job we will do in kind of M&A and integrations.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. So thank you. I think this is probably about all. Actually, there are my contact information, Tapio's also. So we are more than happy, I would say, to discuss with you more if you have integrations, transformations going on, and I would say that if you like want to be ahead of others, I think we probably would be able to help you. And also on our web page, which is like NayaDaya.com, we have a link where you can book on meeting if you like.
Thank you. Bye from my office
Thank you.
here.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Let's
you.
keep in touch. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.